Hey guys, how's it going? This morning we are working on a big hydrangea planting project that I'm really looking forward to. This is a new one coming out next year called Little Lime Punch. It's a type of paniculata hydrangea. You can already see it's forming some blooms. It's got some buds right here. It's a lot like the Little Lime, which is a miniature version of the Limelight, except for the bloom color. So these come out with that same beautiful chartreuse, and then they start changing color pretty quickly to kind of a creamy white, and then a light pink, medium pink, and then all the way up to like a very vibrant, they describe it as a Hawaiian punch color. And they say that oftentimes you have all of those colors, like that gradient of color, at the same time. So it's an amazing show. I think it's going to be really pretty. And we typically in our area, high desert, high pH, paniculata hydrangeas have done the very best for us. And the reason why we're planting all of these is actually to fix a huge garden fail on our part. So you might remember when we planted a hedge of limetta hydrangeas in here. So it's on this side of the juniper, and then also if I cruise this way, you can see we've got like the remnants of a few more on this side as well. We are dealing with a severe nutrient deficiency in this area, which can be caused by, several different things. This is because of our high pH, which binds up iron. Usually it's not a lack of iron in the area that does this to a plant. Like this is iron deficiency symptoms right here. Typically you start seeing like the leaf tissue turn a light color, then it turns yellow, the veining remains dark. Severe enough, it starts to burn like this, and then you eventually kind of lose the plant. So, there's probably iron in the soil, but because of our high pH, it's not available to the plant. The high pH binds up the nutrients in the soil. So to address this type of problem, we're going to be doing a couple of different things. We are going to be planting these new ones with soil acidifier to help kind of combat the pH of the soil. Then we're also going to be treating with chelated iron, which is a synthetic form of iron, which is a type that's immediately available to your plant. They can take it right up instead of like trying to, we're going to try to hit the soil issue at the same time. Our water's high pH too, so it's one of those things that I'm hoping, because it's a paniculata and not an arborescens variety, that will have good or better luck. It's interesting though, because you can have the same plant in a different area of your garden. In one spot it looks beautiful, and another spot you might have an issue. Like take for example, throwing the leaves around. Our red point maples over here look really nice. They're beautiful, they're the color of green they should be, but just right over here, which we should come over here and I'll show you this red point maple that's suffering. I think that this maple is maybe 20 yards away from the ones we just looked at, and look at it. It is so yellow, so iron deficient, and Aaron has treated it with chelated iron both in a foliar application and in ground. He also did iron tone, which is just a slower feed, and then we did spread soil acidifier this spring. So we're very hopeful that we can bring it back, but it kind of just goes to show that sometimes there's just no rhyme or reason to what a plant will do, and it doesn't necessarily mean that that's a bad plant for your area, because we have red points in several other areas of our garden and are not dealing with this. This is just a weird location. And the other interesting thing about this spot is look right here. These are the incredible hydrangeas, which is a type of arborescens hydrangea, same family as the limettas. And here they're doing pretty darn good. We have a little bit of chlorosis, but not nearly like we do on the limettas. Like you can see here, we have a little bit going on, but not bad. We've treated these as well, and these typically do really well for us so long as they get enough water. So anyway, sometimes you just gotta pull stuff out and try something new, and that's what we're doing today. Back to the Little Lime Punch. These are a zone 3 through 8, so incredibly winter hardy, and they bloom on new wood, and that's something I very much so appreciate about all of our paniculata hydrangeas that we have around here, which we have Quickfire and Firelight and Limelight. We can do a nice trim on all of them late winter, early spring, and then they'll form new wood and blooms that season. If you deal with deer or heavy snow loads, it's also a huge benefit to plant something that blooms on new wood, because there's a slew of things that can happen between, like on old wood blooming plants, they form buds during like this year, and they won't bloom on those buds until next year. And so if you have deer grazing, or if you have something that comes through like a snowstorm that breaks branches, then you're more likely to lose blooms in that case. So new wood blooming plants are awesome for that. They grow about 3 to 5 feet tall and wide, so I think they're going to be gorgeous right here. In fact, I'm very much so looking forward to them getting big, especially right here, because these poor seducer hostas, the wind kind of barrels through this area and kind of tatters the backside. They look great from this side, which is the side I'm mostly seeing them from when we walk this pathway. They do like fold apart sun, which I know it's a little deceiving right now. Right now in the morning they do get shade, but you can kind of see the sun start creeping in on this side. It gets sunnier on this side first, and then like mid to late afternoon, the sun barrels through this area and gets the rest of the flower bed during that hottest, most intense part of the day. So I do think that they're gonna have enough sun in order to be happy. Okay, so I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna plant in pretty much the same location. I've got drip set up. We're gonna do the drip a little differently too, but we're just gonna pull these, which I may need a shovel for, and we're just gonna replant in the same spots because I want them spaced about the same distance as the last ones. And then what we're gonna do differently with drip is, you can see right here, this is where an old one was. We put a 2 gallon per hour emitter just into this 1/2-inch black poly, and that's what was feeding the hydrangea. I think what we're gonna do instead of the emitter into the tubing is we're going to come out with the 1/4-inch brown drip tubing and make a ring around the root ball so that we have water feeding the root ball from multiple different directions instead of just one side. That might help things too. So we'll get all these out, put some soil acidifier in, get some biotone in there, get our drip set up, and just get this thing done. I'm so excited to see plants again in this spot. All right, so I have all of the hydrangeas kind of sitting next to where the limettas are right now, but I did want to show you, I'm gonna have to move 2 different plants. First off, there's a Woo La La hosta that I moved from around the Pondless waterfall this spring. You can see that this spot gets way too much sun because this hosta burns. So I need to move it anyway, and that's about where this one needs to go. So it'll be quite perfect to just finish up our hedge, and I'll move the hosta just right over onto the other side there underneath the maple where the other hostas are doing great. And then the other plant is on this end. It's one of the brand new roses we just planted. But that's okay. That means it'll be easy to dig up. So it's this one right here. This is the Italian ice. I've got 3 of them here. So we've got 2 here, and I'll probably just move that one to this side right here and just kind of carry on that color. And then the other thing that I'm going to do as I plant is I have a tape measure out here, and I'm going to measure because we didn't get around to trimming our boxwoods this year. So they're like a little scruffy, and they're scruffier in some spots. So I can't really eyeball for spacing in terms of how far away from the boxwoods we go, because like right here they look way further away than they do down here. So what I'm going to do is measure from the brick. We're going to measure 48 inches from the brick to the start of the root ball. This is the one that I liked the placement of the most. So I measured from the brick right to where that stem is, and that's where this one will go, just like that. So here we go. Okay, so I've got them all planted. I'm watering them in now. Now there is drip run to each one of these. It was interesting though, because as I was getting into replacing the drip, and like I said, we were going to be replacing it with the 1/4-inch brown drip tubing around the root ball rather than a single emitter, I realized like on that end, there's an extra drip line, a brown one that's 1/2 inch that has emitter holes every 18 inches that ran on this side of the hydrangeas and on this side. So the water was really saturated, and I didn't really do any extra drip over there. And then over here, I just kind of gauged the difference because like right here, you can see this part is still in the shade while that side is clearly in the sun. So they just differ so much in this hedge that I'm just gonna have to watch this area really closely. And right now I'm just watering them in to make sure that they're all settled into their little spots here. Now I did space them out proper. When we initially planted the limetta hydrangeas, there was no bricks. So we had nothing to really go from that was solid. We were just eyeballing the whole thing, and it was off pretty big time. So I have these spaced exactly 36 inches apart from each other on center. So from the center of this shrub to the center of this one, in terms of their root ball, they're 36 inches, and then they're 48 inches set back from the bricks. So we have a very nice, straight and tidy hedge. So anyway, that's it for this project. I just hope that this serves as maybe an encouragement to you guys that not everything works out. I mean, even this was kind of a large scale project, and to have to pull those things out and not have them thrive, it's a huge bummer and it can be discouraging, but it happens. It's kind of the nature of the beast, and it could be a myriad of reasons why something didn't thrive. So it's just something that sometimes you have to troubleshoot, and you have to try maybe 1 or 2 different things in that spot before you find something that works out. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how, you know, keeping up on the soil acidifier works. I have a reminder set in my phone to come do the soil acidifier again. In fact, I'm going to do it on the same day that I give it to my blueberries as well. And then we'll just be eyeballing the water. And I think Erin is going to go ahead and give these the chelated iron, the more synthetic form of iron, so that the plants can take it up like today. And so they'll have it on board, so hopefully we don't run across the same problem. And you might be thinking, like, why don't you put something in that spot where you don't have to do that? And you know, it just depends on what kind of maintenance you want. And in this case, it's a maintenance in terms of the iron issue and water, and instead of like a maintenance issue in terms of deadheading. I could do a hedge of roses here, but then I'd have them in and out of bloom, and I'd have, you know, a mess on the ground from petals falling, and I'd have to deadhead them. Hydrangeas I love, and they're worth the effort to me, because when they start to bloom, that's it. They just keep on blooming through the season. They never make a mess. They are just gorgeous. And I'm excited to have color here. Like the limettas would have been beautiful, but I'm excited to see what these little lime punches do. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. We will update you on how things go, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.